I just think that the athletic commissions, you know, like when they fine people and when they get mad at people for stuff, it's like sometimes they do it in a very heavy-handed way, and I think it's kind of obscene. Like what happened with Vanderlei Silva, I think is obscene. You know that story. They banned Vanderlei for life. He ran away from a test, which he definitely shouldn't have done. Definitely shouldn't have done. But if he was on something that he shouldn't have been on, suspend him as if you caught him for that something. Like suspend him for, you know, maybe an extra 6 months because he's a dick because he ran away from you. But you can't say for life.
He
you can't just take away a guy.
Though, did he not? It wasn't that isolated incident only.
Vanderlei.
Was it the only isolated incident?
Yeah, Vanderlei
he
wasn't.
He didn't test positive before?
No, Vanderlei has never tested positive before.
Then...
Ever. No, I mean, it's not saying he hasn't done anything. Like in Pride, you know, Ensign Inoue, when he was on here, he was talking about his Pride contract, and he said it was, and Yves Edwards said the same thing. It said in capital letters, "We do not test for steroids."
They give you a syringe on the house and shit.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not saying that he didn't do them ever, but he never, Vanderlei never tested positive. No, so they had no reason to suspect him, other than, you know, if they follow the sniff test, you know, but. You got there's no proof. I mean, and again, that's the only argument, whether it's proof or not proof, right? It's not whether or not you think he was guilty.
I got to tell you something. I thought I had, like, good stories about hiding from probation officers and shit.
This is actual Ensign's contract?
Yeah, it says at the bottom there.
Oh, here it says, performance-enhancing stimulants of steroid-based family are specifically excluded from the scope of the test. Why don't they just write, have at it, boys? And gals, too. Shit.
I've hidden from some. Everybody. There was one probation officer in Boulder that used to fuck with me, so I had to hide from him from time to time. But I've heard some stories years after about some of the Brazilian fighters and shit, what they've done with us duggos down there, whatever the fuck it is. Didn't Jose Aldo stop them at the airport? Didn't something happen where they got their fucking visas returned or something like that? The Brazilians are notorious for fucking with these people. Fucking with them. Something happened. They were at the airport, and their visas got. Then there was somebody else who had a problem.
Well, the guy came to Aldo's gym, and they didn't know who the guy was, and they didn't trust him. And you got to also, I mean, all suspicions aside that people always have when someone comes to you and says they're going to test you for steroids, and then you don't want to take that test. There's always going to be suspicion. Well, that's because you're guilty. But you have to take into consideration the possibility that it was not communicated very well, that you might be talking about two different languages. And Aldo, who speaks a little bit of English, but not that much, all of a sudden he's meeting these people, and he's in Brazil, and he's very famous. So he doesn't know if he's being fucked with. He doesn't know if this is real, if it's random, if they just show up. Nobody warns you. So it's not like the UFC calls you up and says, Jose, how are you, man? It's Mike from the UFC. I just want to let you know that this guy who's testing you right now for steroids is totally legit. No, they just show up, dude. They just show up, and they don't even want to present you with information. They don't want to present you with ID. Like Chael Sonnen was telling the story about how when they tested him and how bizarre it was. Didn't he say they pulled him into a bathroom or something like that to test him? Yeah, like a janitor's closet or something. They tested him in a janitor's closet. And he's like, "What the fuck? You're drawing my blood?" And he's like, and it turned out to actually be USADA. He goes, but it could easily have been just some fucking crazy person who just wanted my blood and my piss. You know, I mean, you don't know. It's
now what happened with Tim Kennedy?
What happened with him?
That they went over to his house and he came home from the gym sweaty.
Oh, yeah.
And the guy made him take a shower. I don't know. I didn't read the whole thing.
They couldn't do the test for like an hour for some reason. I don't know. I don't remember what the reason was. Or maybe the guy had to get the test brought over or something.
And the guy went in the shower.
So he goes, I have to keep an eye on you. He goes, oh, really? Well, listen. He goes, I'm going to take a shower. I just got done training. And that's actually, especially if you're doing jiu-jitsu, it's actually really important.
Important that you jump in the shower.
Yeah, because you get scratches, and those scratches on your body, you can get staph on those. And staph lives in your nose, and it lives in saliva, and it lives in, like, when you're doing jiu-jitsu, you're just awash in bacteria. Holds USADA rep at gunpoint.
Yes.
When is
showed up
this?
at his house. The guy showed up in his driveway.
When is this?
This was in August.
Oh my God! Demands to know who he is.
Here's the little story on it.
Holy shit!
Yeah, these motherfuckers are coming over like the Cubans to your house.
If you're ever driving down Tim Kennedy's block, make sure he knows who the hell you are.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
They pull up on you. You can't do that shit, Joe. You can't pull up on me like that.
After slowly pulling up to Kennedy's driveway and parking his car, the USADA collector was greeted at the wrong end of a barrel. Whoa. He demanded to know who he was. It looks like Kennedy is cleaning up the streets as USADA tries to clean up professional mixed martial arts. Wow. Wow, this is crazy. He's saying that he thought the USADA rep might be a terrorist disguised as a urine collector. Wow, that's funny. Yeah, that's a dangerous guy to sneak up on. You got to be real careful. That's not a guy you want to fucking...
You got to be a little... I know Diaz didn't let him in. He just told him, I'm sleeping.
A lot of people don't like the idea of just being stopped. Like, you have to always worry about that. That's like an added element that you think of. That you have to be stopped in the middle of your sleep. Someone can wake you up at 7:30 in the morning. Ding dong. And you have to give them blood and piss right there. You have to. It's a deal. So you've lost
blood and piss?
I think so. I think at the very least they're testing blood. I know Nevada was doing urine too. I don't know if they're still doing urine. But the more stringent tests apparently are all blood-based. It's
you have to give them your schedule, where you're going, what time you're training.
Cowboy got in trouble.
That's tough. That's tough.
Cowboy got in trouble because they said, we're at your ranch. He goes, well, I'm at the UFC. And he's like, you have to let us know where you're going. He goes, well, doesn't the UFC tell you I'm going to be here? He's like, this is where I'm going. Like, I'm promoting the UFC. I'm here for the UFC. I got a fight coming up. That's why I'm there. Like, they didn't tell you I was going to be there. And so they have to, like, warn him and give him, like, you're a bad boy because we didn't know where you were. Well, send someone here, motherfucker. You know where he is now.
I'm here right here.
Yeah, but he had to, like, give them his schedule. Like, no matter where you're going. You know, I'm going to go fishing. I'm going to be on this river. Okay, we're going to show up. Then come down the river on a mountain bike and try to collect your piss or your blood or whatever.
You have no idea what life is when they get tracked second to second like that.
Oh, it must be horrible.
It's a fucking nightmare.
What is this, Jamie?
They have an app now so that they can check in and type in like
that's so crazy. Oh my God.
Gives you GPS info.
Oh my God, that's so crazy. That's so crazy. That's how far we have to go to keep people from doing steroids. You gotta track them like a drone. You gotta follow them with a drone.
When they came to my house, I was a criminal. I'd given up my right. It's so fucking bizarre. And they would show up. This one dude had it out for me because I told you I put the fucking Alka-Seltzer in the pistol one time and I fucked him up. So now this little southern guy would come to me. He'd show up at my job. He'd show up fucking everywhere. And like twice I gave him piss, but at least I got to talk to him and shit. He wasn't a bad guy. He wasn't like not a heavy at all. The one time I just wouldn't let him in. And then he filed me for a probation violation, but I proved I wasn't there. I was at the airport. So.
Yeah, it's... When someone...
I can't do it no more. I couldn't be in a halfway house
check in with someone,
now.
that would put you in a weird position with that person.
No, you have no idea. There's people who come out of prison, they put them in that situation, and they fail, and they go right back to prison. And they'll tell you, I never want to be in a halfway house situation again.
Yeah?
Because it's too...
It's not really freedom.
It's not really freedom in a way. At that level of
gym.
It's
like they're weaning you off of freedom. That's why it's a halfway house, right?
Right. So, okay, I'm at the gym. I leave work. I got to call them and say I'm headed over to 10th Planet HQ. What's the address? 602, whatever. And then as I'm leaving there, let's say you go, okay, we're going to go over across the street to get a protein shake. And when you go over, the place is closed. So you go next door or something like that. They could violate you for that.
Yeah.
It's tough to,
But it's working.
But it's working, and it makes you accountable.
Yeah, it makes you accountable.
Which is the most important thing, anyway.
And you're definitely going to eliminate 90-something% of the people that would be willing to take a chance and take a steroid. But then there's always the possibility that there's people that are ahead of the curve. You know, like we can't think that, you know, all those times when they had that clear stuff, when Victor Conte was using that stuff on his athletes that was undetectable, they would call it the clear. And then they figured out what the clear was, and now you can test for it. But back then, nobody had a test for it. But once they find tests for whatever the fuck people are using now that are skirting around tests, we're going to go, oh, we thought those guys were clean. Like, there's going to be a certain percentage, whatever that percentage is, whether it's 10%, there's always going to be a percent that's trying something. There's always going to be a percent that's willing to try something. It's just out of all the people that we know are clean, if there's 100 people, is it one guy that takes a chance and does something weird and then gets caught a few years later when they figure out a test for it?
Oh,
Might be.
Victor Conte was taking it to different levels.
Oh, he was?
Gummy bears in the 6th inning?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, and they would be out of your
gummy
system.
Bears.